Andre Norman, coming to you again with Community Conversations. And today, I'm joined by my two brothers, Taylor and Dominic Williams, and we're gonna have a discussion about the transition from inside to outside. And Charles, can you share with them your journey?
My journey started many moons ago.
Many moons ago. No, real talk. I mean, we want to talk about when you finally found out you were going. When we know you did your bid, we want them to understand what it was like when you found out you were going home and that process of getting to the point of going home.
Okay, so the first step was getting myself ready because I couldn't believe that I was going to see parole. I had talked myself in for years that I was just going to wrap this bid up. I done heard so much negative stuff about parole that I knew that wasn't for me. I'm going to wrap this up. I knew it was 2020, wrap my sentence up. But that's what I was
just getting out.
Right, wrapped up. So that was my mindset. Let me wrap my sentence up so I wouldn't come home on no papers or none of that there. So in the midst of me having that breakdown, someone told me like, man, you better take what comes first because a lot of different things was happening. There was raids happening on the street, and people say you don't never know what's going to happen. So take what's presented for you. So I started preparing myself to get parole. I started writing teachers from former schools. A friend of mine was working at Def Jam, so they got me letters from Russell Simmons at the time, Benzino. So here it is. I'm going to the parole board. I got my packet together. I'd heard all these different stories about how the parole boards is just gonna gun you down. Ain't no way in hell with your institutional record you're gonna get parole. So I have my packet. I'm starting to feel comfortable and good about it. I'm talking to people, how they ask you. Someone told me like, yo, make 3 copies, give each person on the board one of this here. So I go in, I give them my packet. They look through it, set it down. That didn't play no factor. That ain't hold no weight. They come right out the gate. Like, why are you in here in waist chains and shackles? I told them I'm in a segregation unit. Actually, it wasn't even seg. It was the STG security threat groups. They're asking me, why are you in this here? And I said, man, listen, once they STG you and you do not renounce your affiliation, and I was telling them I wasn't affiliated with nothing, so there's nothing for me to renounce. So right. They kept me in there. I couldn't go to the program unless I signed a paper saying I'm not a part of this here. So that was my stance. I was like, I'm not signing nothing that I'm not a part of. Right. So I stayed in there. Here comes my parole board. They tell me I'm seeing a parole board. So I was like, kind of discouraged. Like, I can't see these people in waist chains and all this here. So I go see the parole board. They're telling me you have to get to lower security for us to even consider you with the parole. So I told them I was being held inside this security threat group for the reason of me not denouncing something that I feel I'm not a part of. Right. So in that, they tell me, step out the room. They had a conversation with the officers, see if what I was telling them was truthful or not. So when I came back in there, they told me like still try and get to a lower security and they'll see me in 6 months. So I was kind of like, man, here we go. Then someone came in there, gave them paper, stating everything that I told them. Mm-hmm. I ended up getting the parole board. Mm-hmm. Getting paroled. So I'm like, damn, that's cool. I gotta wait for 6 months, but it's cool. I'm in here. I'm like, man, I went back to the block. I'm telling everybody they denied me for parole. You know, because in prison there's people who don't want to see good come to someone else. You know, right. They don't want to wait for their turn for it to happen to them, so they'll tear yours down. So I told everybody I got denied. I got to see them next year or whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, it's hard to lie to them with the straight face on, but I'm like, man, ain't no one tearing this down here. Because I couldn't believe I got it. I was still in denial. I ended up getting to the point where, like, I call my mom. I'm starting to prepare for what I'm going to do. Like, I got all these letters and stuff, but that ain't nothing that I thought about the whole course of my bid that I wanted to do. I didn't want to really be around the celebrity stuff. It was good from the distance, but that ain't what I wanted to do. And I communicated that with certain people so I could have other things lined up for me. So that's what it really is about. Once I got the parole, I was still trying to line up. What am I actually gonna do? Because here it is. I still didn't think about what the hell I wanted to do when I got out. I really didn't.
I gotta ask you. You said you went back to the block and you told everybody you didn't get it. Yeah. But these are the dudes you love. These are the dudes you go shoulder to shoulder with.
Well, actually, no. At this point, I was kind of around like maybe like 2 people that I knew. So like I knew from the street. Other than that, like the gang block to me, I call gang blocks crip blocks. Cowards running in packs because they all in there and we all masquerading on something else. So no one's in it really got your best interest of you know what I'm saying. So with that being said, I was around 2 people that I was getting ready, like I knew from the streets. They was getting ready to actually get shipped to the feds. So their mission was like trying to get me to come to the phase program, phase out of the gang unit. So I was like, man, I'm not doing all that there. I said, y'all can do that because y'all going to be on the road. I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? I'm going home from here. And that was it. So I didn't kind of want to tell nobody else in there because like prison's shady. No one really wakes up and be happy about some happiness you received.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I kept it to myself. I called my mom after that. Told her I got paroled or whatever. Don't tell nobody. You know, I still want to be a secret from the outside too. But
so Dom, how was it when you finally got that decision from the courthouse?
After doing 26 years in prison, I decided to go to the law library. After sending numerous people to the law library to fight their case, after 26 years, I decided it's my turn to go to the law library. When I did, a week to the day, I found case law to release me. When I found that, I was very happy, but I didn't know what to expect. Because like I said again, I've been in prison since I was 18 years old. When I did finally submitted the paperwork to get my case overturned, it took me like 3 years because they were trying to decide how was they gonna release me and, you know, all the other stuff that goes along with it. When I did receive the letter saying that my case was overturned, man, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should holler, scream, let anybody else know about it, but I knew that I was going to be back on the street.
But hold up, 29 years at this point on a natural.
Right, 29.
And they tell you can go home.
Right.
You in the cell speechless.
Man, let me tell you something. I forgot to tell you, I did cut my earlobe off too when I was going to court that day. I was shaving, trying to get ready to go, and I'm like, oh man, they said, what are you doing? And they didn't know nobody hit me or nothing, but they took me to the hospital and they glued the thing back on and all that stuff. I was like, man.
Nervous.
I was nervous because, you know, I was seeing the streets again.
Yeah. I know I was 13 years in, and they just called me one day. They're like, yo, you on the parole board? I said, huh? Parole board was so far out of my mind, I didn't even know I was eligible. Because I'm in, never asked anybody. Then I got cases while I was in, and pushed it further out. So I'm just walking in, they said, Dre, you on the list for the parole board this month? What are you talking about? I went around the prison. I said, okay, I'm really going to parole board. I want to go home, sure. So I walked around the prison and I asked everybody I knew who'd been paroled, what lie do I need to tell to get out of here?
Right.
I kid you not, I was running up on people. Like, yo, you went, you got it before. What lie do I need to tell these people to get out of here?
Right.
It wasn't about anything but getting out. And the craziest thing, nobody would tell me anything. They're like, well, I don't know, Dre, I don't know, Dre. I'm like, man, these dudes, man, and finally I go to the parole board. I walk in, I sit down, we have the hearing, they tell me to step out, step in, they said, we're not giving you parole. I was like, okay, I wasn't upset, I didn't expect to get it, so I wasn't mad when they told me no. I said, well, can I ask you a question? They said, what? I said, well, why did you say no? And I kid you not, the parole board sat with me for another 20 minutes. They said, we're not supposed to do this, but we're gonna tell you why we said no. And they explained to me all their reasoning and their thoughts about my case, my attitude, my time in jail, and how they see it. I went to the parole board based on how I saw it. I didn't know how they saw it. Never even considered them. I always thought about me. So when they explained to me what they explained, I had a better understanding of what the parole board really was for. I thought the parole board was to say yes, no. I didn't know they were there to really take in consideration your risk factors, things you've done, and how you. I didn't know none of that. I just thought they said yes, no. Like it was like I've been to D board 1,000 times. I'm thinking the parole board and the D board is the same thing. Right. It's just a different set of people, and it's not. So I did another year. I went back to the parole board again, but this time with an understanding of what they were looking for and what I was supposed to be doing and how to articulate myself. So I had a real plan, I had a real strategy, and I had real people attached. Before I just went in there like I was going to D board, like I'm already guilty. How many days ISO you gonna get me?
Right.
I go back in the second time and they give me parole. Now, because of the reputation and the history that I had built, it didn't go over well. So it took me like another 6 months of actually being there. But when I went back to my cell and they said, yeah, I was like, this ain't supposed to be.
Yeah.
This ain't, I'm not supposed to get parole. Right. Listen, Norman is not supposed to get parole. Period. It's just not supposed to happen. It was never, that's the crazy thing. My entire time that I was inside, I never thought about getting parole. Right. So when I got it, I was like, it's kind of like winning a lottery that you didn't even play for. Right. I was just like, I'm in my cell like, okay, I got parole. Lost. Happy, ecstatic, called moms, but I was just personally like dumbfounded. What day you go home?
I believe April.
You believe?
Yeah.
What's a tattoo there?
Nah. I had a bigger fish to fry. I didn't want to remember that. I was trying to, you know what I'm saying? That was just once I got out, I wasn't trying to look back. That probably was a good thing, you know? But that morning of me getting ready to go, it was like the typical, everyone comes to your cell, seeing what they could get, what you want to leave, and all this here stuff. And I was like, man, listen, don't nothing have a tag, because I was in the gang unit, so it was like nothing has a tag. Whatever y'all want, you can have. One thing I do remember taking was a Bible and maybe like 2 books that I was into at that time. And that's kind of weird because I didn't see nobody in that unit of value to leave the books to. It was right. So I took the book home. That was the only thing I took from prison, promise you. Right. So I was sitting out in the lobby of Walpole, and you know, all kind of anxieties going because I've never ever prepared for this moment. I didn't think this moment was gonna come on parole anyway. I thought I was gonna wrap my sentence up and that's how I was gonna go home. So the day the parole came, my date for parole came, sitting in the lobby. I've never been in the lobby, so it was just like seeing people coming in and out. That's giving me butterflies and anxiety. I'm like, damn, are they waiting for the police to come? I'm kind of looking out the parking lots, you know what I'm saying, looking. Then I see my mom. Man, I lit up. I'm like, word up. She's like, they telling me come in here. I was like, Mom, we can just go. I don't need no ID. I'm not going to there. You know, they're trying to give you the check and all that. I didn't have no job, Mom. No, we don't need all that there. Let's go. And it's crazy because like maybe that 5-month period, there was all these things about the airbags going off and stuff. So when Mom picked me up, I hadn't been in the front seat in years. I'm sitting in the front seat like this here on the holding to the dashboard. Like she's like, baby, you can sit back, put your seat back on. I don't know how to adjust no front seats or none of that. So I'm just like, the airbags ain't gonna go off. You hitting bumps and all this. My anxiety's gone. Right. By the time I hit Mattapan Square, man, it was like I never left. All my anxieties left. Yeah. I was just like, I didn't want to go to no corner stores or none of that, but it was just like everything seemed the same. The streets, everything, nothing looked different in my mind. As much as it did change, nothing really looked different. So all my anxiety was gone. So my mom was like, you don't want to go to the mall now? I was like, yeah, we could go to the mall. So I went to the mall, and they got the TVs on the walls and the sneaker store, music blasting. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a video, but I'm like still extra polite. I'm holding the doors for 20 minutes for people who was way down the end of the mall coming to the same store I'm going to. My mom's like, baby, come on. So I'm just like, I'm thinking she's rude, right. But I'm being extra nice. So we go in there, my anxiety kick in. I was like, nah, we can't go in there. So we ended up going to my mom's house. I sat there. All the years of prison, I done made a menu of all the things I'm gonna eat. Man, I didn't have an appetite for nothing. I didn't eat nothing. I couldn't eat nothing at all. Right. My sex drive, my anxiety got the best of me. I wasn't even thinking about calling no females. I was just trying to see, you know what I'm saying, see what was up the family, but I didn't have no appetites. I didn't have no appetite for no females to be around me or nothing at that time. As much as I thought that was gonna be the first thing on my mind, you know. So I ended up having probably like a turkey and cheese sandwich the first day home, just sitting there talking to my mom over and over and over and over, walking around her house, because I ain't never been in this house, you know what I'm saying? So I'm walking around the house. I ain't really got no homeboys. All my boys are still in jail, so it's no one for me to really call. I waited. My brother and them finally came over. They giving me like DVDs, music, all the stuff but I'm like, man, they don't mean nothing to me. I'm just trying to see what's new. They give me clothes. I'm thinking like, man, who is this stuff with names on their butts and all that? You know what I'm saying? It was just everything changed in that regard, man. Things I didn't even prepare for. So like that first day was just like, I don't know, just like experiment, trying to see what is. Did the light in the refrigerator really go off when you shut the door? I'm doing all that stuff I ain't seen in years, man. You know, so.
You mess with the light in the refrigerator?
Yeah, I was seeing if it's still the same thing, man. We ain't had no refrigerators in lockup. we ain't had nothing. It was just like all this stuff just was being in the home again, man. It was just like, you know what I'm saying, so small, but it was like, it meant a lot, man. Being in there, laying on a bed, having a nice pillow, you know what I'm saying, comforter sets and all that stuff there. That was my aha. I'm back.
Dom, your first day out,
Well,
or that day.
Well, for me, that day, first and foremost, I was released from MCI Norfolk. You was released. Malcolm X was released from there as well. It was, you know, my anxiety was up there. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that when I did leave, where I was going. Andre Norman's house. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why the judge really released me, because they put me on a bracelet. They said I need to have some place to stay, and Andre stepped up and wrote the letter and all that stuff, and they allowed me to stay with Andre. Even though he was ex-felon, but they allowed me to stay there because of the work he was doing before I got out. When I came down the stairs from MCI Norfolk, you were there, my girl was there, my father was there, my brother was there, and two stepbrothers that I ain't, you know, my father had kids out of wedlock and all the other stuff, you know? But it was strange, man, because you know, like I said, I was never had the mindset that I was gonna be going home, but then it changed when I did overturn my case. So I really didn't know what to expect, because I never prepared myself to get out. Even though I overturned the case and stuff, I never said, okay, well, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna do this. You know, I just went on like, you know, on the fly, just got out and, you know, we went out to eat. We went Orchard Park Projects. We went down there, party a little bit. Then we left. I went to the house with Dre and we chilled, talked and stuff. You know, then the next morning, Dre got on a plane, went to another country and stuff. You know, it was real different.
I remember November 15th. I've been fighting for like forever, because I was supposed to go to lower security, didn't make it. Then they finally got to the point where they said, we're going back and forth. When am I gonna get out? It was just a long story of when am I actually gonna go. I got my parole in April, but since I couldn't go to lower security, it's going in a circle. And on November 14th, they said, yo, you're going home tomorrow. I'm like, all right, cool. Now everybody's been waiting for me to go for 6 months. I give everything away. I'm sitting in my cell with nothing. And so the 15th, I get up. You know the drill. You go outside, you walk around the yard, they start calling names on the speaker. Dudes walking to the gate, give you a hug, and they watch you leave. We all in the yard, we walk in the yard. I go, okay, it's my turn. They start calling names, and they don't call me. I'm like, okay, they told me I'm going home. So I go back into the unit. I'm like, yo, what's up? They said, oh, they're letting you go after the next count. I was like, okay, this is new. Mm-hmm. So we go back in, and at Norfolk, everybody's in the dorm, in the building. Then when they clear count, we eat in the units, you know that. So when they clear count, CO yelled out, Norman, bag and baggage. So everybody's like, yeah. I walk down the stairs, and when I go to walk outside, it's just me. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's in the dorm eating. So I gotta walk out of the dorm and walk down the quad. As I'm walking down the quad, right, I ain't got no stuff. I got to think of my legal folder. And I'm walking and I'm looking in the windows, because the dudes in the dorms I'm passing. And I'm like, I'm seeing people. And I'm seeing people with life sentences. I'm seeing people that I've known for like the last 14 years, and this is all I know.
Right.
These are all the people I know. And it was sad for me walking down that quad by myself, man. It's looking at people cheering me from the windows or tapping or throwing up signs or giving me a fist pump. I'm like, man, I'm leaving. I'm like leaving and I'm leaving. It wasn't just I'm leaving, but I'm leaving them. Don't know what I'm going to.